Williams. Well, Sydney FC coach Ante Juric would have to know deep down that it would take a miracle to avoid him being in charge of the first ever Sydney side to miss the Ninja A-League finals. It would not tarnish from his significant legacy. Let's not forget, his sides have been 3-time premiers and 2-time champions, but he's certainly under significant pressure for the first time in his Sydney FC career. A lot on the line this evening. Pride, undefeated records, and a chance for Sydney to get off the bottom of the table. Chance for them to at least mathematically still have hopes of their season continuing into the knockout stages. But we are underway at Amy Park. It is the third grand final rematch of this season. These teams still unable to be separated. 2 1-all draws have been the previous results when these sides have met. Will either side be able to make the decisive touch? Will either side be able to score the decisive goal? And we'll see either grand final demons exonerated or perhaps the small bright spark in what has been a very challenging season for Sydney FC. Certainly one of their bright sparks is Indiana Dos Santos, who was on the ball there, the youngster. Looking to create something early here, Sydney. Abini. Hawksby. Back to Abini. Abini's touch just getting away from her. Now Lourdes Bosch. An opportunity to run the ball forward. Intercepted though, Shea Holman. Industrious work in midfield. Abini. Holman, shot from distance. Ambitious. And flying over the crossbar. Good early work from the 19-year-old midfielder. He's been in and out of the side this season through selection and through some injury niggles. Early signs of that high press from Sydney. They're looking to force Melbourne City into mistakes playing out from the back because they know that City will persist. It is a trademark of the City Football Group style as a whole. They've won possession high early as a result. A cool evening in Melbourne, so plenty of opportunity to continue running right until the final whistle as well. Hawksby trying to win it. It's cleared away instead. Holly McNamara is the player often chasing. That's open, knows she has her hands full today. Ross Backin's throw. Ball comes back to her and then comes off a Sydney FC player for another throw. Talon Henniker getting involved. Mbini picking up the ball in midfield, but her pass just evading Dos Santos. It'll come back to Abini. An opportunity on the counter. Ball played forward. Elena Merez able to come and claim comfortably. Of course, it is a battle of styles this evening. Melbourne City with the highest pass completion in the competition. Sydney FC with the lowest. Sometimes that can work in Sydney FC's favour. What it means is that they want to play more direct, they want to play longer passes. And sometimes it can catch a team like City out. That's potentially why the games have been so even so far this season. But with Holly McNamara firing up top, she adds an extra layer to Melbourne City's attack. She can get in behind Don't have to rely so much on those slow build-up plays themselves. Here's Laura Hughes. Some fantastic goal-scoring form of her own. McKenna. Speckmeyer. Policina. Now for a Sydney FC throw. Mariana Policina back into this Melbourne City side. She spent large parts of the season coming off the bench. A little bit out of form to her standards, but just in the last few weeks has really come back into her own with that little injury to Leah Davidson. As Jordan Thompson did a great job seeing the ball out of play. That little injury to Leah Davidson, it meant that there was room for Policina to return back into the starting 11 alongside Letitia McKenna, who had been preferred to her for much of the season. Again, she's just added that extra little layer of attack. It'll be interesting to see how Matriani uses Davidson today. Here's Sydney FC on the attack once more. Abini. Princess Abini will shoot from distance. Mires always had her body behind it. Princess Abini is the perfect kind of player that Ante Juric can call on. With all of her experience in the league, still young, still full of running, but someone that no matter what the situation, she will give you that level of class, that level of effort. Doesn't let much phase her, Abini. So Sydney, they're just sitting off a little bit. They're waiting for their pressing triggers. So they would have been given instructions by their coach, Ante Juric, that when the ball goes to a certain player or in a certain direction, that's when they all come forward in unison. Hawkesby in front and then a block of 4 just in behind. You can see really clearly there. That is the way that they will be planning to exploit City playing out from the back. They've managed to play through here though. Stott. Kostelakis. Otto out to Rossbacken. Speckmeyer brought to ground right in front of the Melbourne City bench. They made it known just what they thought of that challenge from Tori Tumeth. Very unnecessary really from Tumeth, because Speckmeyer had lost the ball. She wasn't going to chase that one down. A misjudgment perhaps. So Beth Mason-Jones organising her defence. Policina's delivery. It's high. It'll be headed away. Hughes back in the mixer. Stott pokes it through to Speckmeyer. Mariana Speckmeyer, can she get the cutback across? She can. And it was cut out off a Melbourne City player, according to referee Isabella Mawson. Very promising set piece for City. That was a good touch from Speckmeyer to get around Sobin. And the referee judging that it came off Lourdes Bosch.
Alexia, be aware. Alexia.
Oh, intercepted by McNamara. Holly McNamara, one-on-one with Thompson here. Has run out of space a little bit. Still McNamara cutting it across. Bosch. Policina couldn't control the pass. The onrushing Apostolakis wanted to get the shot away, but Policina was still there in the way. It was a goal kick taken by Thompson that went all wrong, straight to the feet of Holly McNamara, who is the last player that you want to play a ball like that to. In the end, Sydney scrambled in defence well enough. And defence, of course, for Sydney has really not been their problem this season. They've been the best out of those teams towards the bottom of the table in terms of defence. It's been their inability to score. They are the worst attacking team in the competition. That's what's really haunted them in terms of points. Here's Hughes. Laura Hughes has a pop from distance. Well, she has a wry smile on her face because Laura Hughes is having a season to remember in terms of finding the back of the net. Before this season, she'd scored only 3 goals in her career, and now in 104 games, she's now scored 7, so she's added 4 to the tally this season. Of course, the season that saw her debut for the Matildas as well, a late injury call-up against Chinese Taipei. Hasn't been selected for this upcoming Matildas squad, but certainly has been a few months to remember so far. Now she's having shots from that kind of range. McNamara brought to ground unceremoniously from Thompson, and that will be a yellow card as well. There were players covering. It wasn't a denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, but well, Thompson will now have to be careful for the remainder of the game, the centre-back. The American, she's been good this season. She's been good since signing for Sydney FC. She was Nat Tobin's injury replacement last season when Tobin was out with an ACL injury that she picked up in game 1 of the season. Polisina's delivery to the mixer again. McNamara was there, and Abini will be able to clear. City so far the team in the ascendancy. They'll be anxious to get a goal early. The longer it remains 0-0, the more advantage to Sydney. They'll know that it may only take a goal or two. He's back in, forced into the corner. Polisina drops deep to help out. Otto trying to play it forward. Dos Santos will cut it out. Caspers. Talon Henneke, nice little 1-2. Lovely back heel to find Talon Henneke, but her ball straight out of play, much to the relief of Melbourne City. Fantastic work from the young Matildas teammates, both called up for the upcoming international window in Canberra. 6 Sydney FC players called up to that squad, so a team brimming with young talent. We're under a lot of pressure here. Polisina and Hawkesby able to nip in and score. It was Laura Hughes who was caught out on the ball. Sydney FC have been threatening every time they play Melbourne City to do just that, and it's paid off early at Amy Park. And that was the clear plan from Sydney FC. Press Melbourne City high, take advantage of mistakes, playing out from the back, and Mackenzie Hawkesby was there. Elena Mires caught in 6s and 7s, and Hughes had 3 players on her. She's very disappointed, Laura Hughes, but that touch there took it straight into the path of Hawkesby. Really, that pass, though, sold her very, very short. It was always going to be difficult to get out of that situation. That is what Sydney FC would have drilled all week. And Mackenzie Hawkesby, her 3rd goal of the season. She goes equal top for Sydney this season. And it is the defending champions who take the lead. Well, Melbourne City are no strangers to coming back from behind this season. In fact, this is the 8th time that they've conceded first, still undefeated. And certainly they would rather not have to come back from behind so often, and it's mistakes like that that have cost them over and over. Here's Hawkesby again. Stott was caught in two minds whether to go or to stay then. And Hawkesby knows. She was very, very close to having another opportunity there. Beanie with the strike, just wide. Sydney FC are causing Melbourne City all sorts of problems at the moment. They are in their own heads here, the league leaders. Now Rebecca Stott getting to her feet very slowly, their captain. It was Hughes again, who's having a game she would rather forget at the moment. Beanie came so close to doubling Sydney FC's lead. What is Bosch? Trying to play it forward. Interesting little tidbit from this season. Melbourne City, for their 35 goals that they've scored, they've actually not scored in this period of time between minutes 16 and 30 all season. They've certainly been more dominant in the second half compared to the first. And if they could find an equalizer as soon as possible, that will certainly ease some of those nerves that they're showing when they're playing out from the back at the moment. Another thing counting in Melbourne City's favour is Sydney FC have only scored more than one goal twice this season. Once was against Canberra United in the midweek game that they won, and the other was against Adelaide that actually ended in late defeat. Of course, both previous games that have been played between these two sides have ended in a 1-1 draw. In both of those games, you can make a strong argument to say that Sydney FC were the better side. And certainly so far, in the first 18 minutes or so, it is Sydney who are the team. 1 goal to the good at Sydney, who have created more opportunities just with that high press. It's Melbourne City getting themselves into trouble. Again, City not able to play out. That time didn't come to any danger because it got all the way to Tori Tumeth before Sydney FC gathered the ball. It'll be interesting to see what Sydney FC do in possession now while they've got this lead. The plan out of possession is obvious. And how much do they want to leave themselves exposed at the back for a potential Melbourne City counter-attack while they've got this lead? Or do they just keep pressing at this stage? Here's a beanie. Can't get past Hughes. More Hughes now, driving forward. Apostolakis. McKenna. Good first touch from Letitia McKenna, gets it out to Ross Backen. Apostolakis. It might be the case that Melbourne City will need to use the width more in order to try and get through these blocks of Sydney FC defenders, rather. Melbourne City, interestingly, the least amount of crosses in the competition, which again speaks to their style. They like those high percentage chances, and then with Holly McNamara, they're able to add those long balls into their game as well. Here is McNamara. Maybe again, Sydney FC, maybe they are better off considering using their width a little bit more. Certainly something for Michael Matriciani to ponder. Sydney FC win possession, high up the park again. Beanie looking for that touch. Stott trying to clear it away. Manages to do so. Caspers was there. Now Melbourne City, a potential counter-attacking opportunity. Speckmeyer. Her ball ends up getting to McNamara after Tobin not able to control it, but Sydney FC back in possession. Polisina's ball, searching for McNamara. Holly McNamara got a touch on it, but couldn't get it in front of her. Thompson was there to scramble it away. Speckmeyer in a battle. Ross back in now on the ball. Can she find a Melbourne City shirt? Speckmeyer comes away with it. McKenna back to Hughes. Now when they go all the way back, this is when it's difficult to break down Sydney. Rebecca Stott playing it through to Speckmeyer. Mariana Speckmeyer, Holly McNamara. Now to Polisina. Rihanna Polisina takes a touch out to Bosch. Lourdes Bosch cutting one way, then the other. Polisina shot blocked and appeals for a handball. Not heeded. Plays continuing. And Sydney FC standing firm once again. They'll have an opportunity of their own on the counter. Mackenzie Hawkesby can't get past Apostolakis. Again, that possession stat very heavily favouring Melbourne City, as we would expect. But that doesn't necessarily count against Sydney FC. That would have been part of their game plan, to not worry about that, to let Melbourne City play themselves into danger, which they have done so today. Speckmeyer's ball, searching for McNamara. Another noticeable part of Sydney FC's plan, Natsoven is starting a lot deeper. Maybe they saw McNamara's goal against Newcastle where she just beat Tash Pryor for pace, all ends up. So Tobin is starting a little bit deeper. There won't be any offside trap, but it just means that she's able to cover for that pace. Bosch, Policina, not able to get the shot away. Hughes, Laura Hughes. Still Hughes trying to atone for that earlier mistake is Hughes. Ross back in. What is Bosch? Beats one, beats two, but eventually has the ball taken away from her foot. McNamara couldn't get there, cleanly won by Dos Santos. Now Ross back in. City just searching for a way through. Sydney very disciplined at the back. Sparkin into Speckmeyer. Mariana Speckmeyer turning away. Speckmeyer into McNamara. Nice little 1-2. Is the cutback on? Mason Jones does well to smother the cross and take it out for a corner. The 27-year-old Mason Jones, she's had stints at Melbourne Victory and was at Canberra United for a time as well. She'll be hoping to keep her first Ninja A-League clean sheet today. If she can do so, she can ensure Sydney FC's third victory of the season. Still a long way to go in this game yet. Delivered short. Policina. Back to Apostolakis. Delivery in. Otto tried to play it back to Policina, couldn't do so. Applause from the crowd for the man gathering the ball. Love to hear that. McNamara. Back to Ross Baggin, who's been very involved in these last few moments. Hughes. Can't get past Dos Santos. Loose from Speckmeyer. Talon Henneke isn't going to get there to keep it in. Rebecca Stott just takes a seat for a moment in Sydney FC's dugout. She would rather not have, you get the impression, but she's okay. That mesh on the ground is quite slippery. It can actually be quite dangerous in those kinds of situations. But all's well ends well for Stott. Managed to very comfortably sit down for just a moment. Got back up when she realised she was in the wrong place. McNamara's cross. Headed away by a Sydney FC defender.
Let's go, City! Come on! Good ballet, good communication!
Teacher McKenna. Hughes. Laurie Hughes trying to slip it in behind for Speckmeyer. She'll retain possession right in that corner. And attempted to play it out for a corner, but ended up just kicking it out of play. A frustrated Laurie Hughes at the moment. Melbourne City fans taking a moment to remind everyone that they are indeed top of the league, but the Sydney FC fans watching on, they will remind them of a couple of results that matter, the one that's in front of us right now, and of course, the really important one, the grand final last season that ended with this very scoreline in favour of Sydney FC. The hero that day, Shay Connors, not even in the matchday squad at the moment for Sydney. And Speckmeyer fouled Tori Tumeth. That is indeed emblematic of Sydney's problems in front of goal this season, but it matters for naught if they're able to get over the line here. Beanie bringing Lourdes Bosch to ground there. Hughes looking for Bosch. Lourdes Bosch will be able to reel this in against Abby Lemon. Bosch to the byline and off Nat Sobin for a corner. Well, that curious stat remains. Melbourne City still haven't scored a goal between the 16th and 30th minute. Again, it's a stat that means very little in the context of the broader game. They can equalise here before half-time. That will more than do. Corner in from Apostolakis. McNamara gets the touch. Mason Jones had to scramble. There wasn't an awful lot of power in that from McNamara. He did manage to get through the crowd of bodies. And just for a second, it looked like it might have skewed away into the back of the net, but Mason Jones was there. Passes in own half stat. We see that a lot with Melbourne City. They have a lot of possession, but meaningful possession is what you need to have in games. Despite dominating touches in opposition box, you can't say they've been terribly unlucky to not score so far, City. As they have done all season, they do tend to find a way eventually. They are a very strong second half side in particular. Hughes. Nice touch. Polisino having to drop back. Hawkesby wins that battle. Stott in charge of those long release balls when they do come. The Kiwi international. Long diagonal from Dos Santos. Headed back to Otto. And ball evades Hughes, so Sydney FC on the attack once more. Holman. Tori Shumath looking to play it through. Good touch from Talon Henniker. Kylie Ross back in, able to see it out of play, but he took a touch off Ross back in, so Sydney FC an opportunity from a corner. And with the second look, it does indeed look like the referees got that decision spot on. Corner in from Dos Santos, headed away by Otto. You imagine the plan for McNamara to take that quickly may have been spot on if she herself was the player that would have been on the receiving end of it. In fact, she was the player fouled on that occasion. Rebecca Stott trying to poke it through to Hughes. And the ball played forward by Hawkesby, trying to find Talon Henniker. Otto is there, but Sydney FC will win the throw in another advantageous position. So Sydney FC, the team in the ascendancy at the moment. As the rain begins to fall at Amy Park. It's been one of those days in Melbourne. A little bit cold, maybe a hint of wintry in the air. Ball delivered central, now headed away. Polisina. Lourdes Bosch. Still Bosch. Lourdes Bosch into McNamara. Well, Bosch probably could have kept going then. It's come out to McKenna. His ball searching for Apostolakis, finds her. Now Rihanna Polisino with the strike. Beth Mason-Jones able to claim a good grab too in this weather. It's not easy as a goalkeeper when the rain starts coming down. Gloves start getting slippery, ball starts getting slippery. That's a good grab. That's probably Melbourne City's best out-and-out opportunity of the game. You just wonder, Lourdes Bosch there probably could have kept going. You understand why you would want to play in McNamara given the form she is in. 7 goals since her return. Is coming off 4 goals in 2 games last week. You can always let her drag players away. They've done that a few times, Melbourne City, where they've played in McNamara when they probably didn't need to. Lourdes Bosch protesting her innocence for that foul that she committed, but it will be a Sydney FC free kick. Speckmeyer has Bosch and McNamara in the middle, or Policina behind her. Goes to the byline, comes off Tori Tumeth for a Melbourne City corner. You wonder if this will be a conventional delivery now, really challenge Mason Jones in goal. Only her second game this season, of course, signed after playing in the MPLW Victoria for the Essendon Royals last season. Ball delivered in towards the front post. And adjudged off Jordan Thompson, out for another corner. It is indeed that in-swinging corner challenging the keeper, and the referee will just come in to restore order here. Isabella Mawson is telling everyone to call it. Make sure there's no fouls committed. Kostelakis' delivery towards the back post this time. Comes out to Stott. Rebecca Stott still challenging to try and get the ball away. Can she find the byline? She's got the trick, Stott. Oh, a centre back. Hughes will put the ball back in the mixer, but no one there. Well, Sydney and out of play. Mason Jones just down on her haunches here. He's claiming that something untoward occurred during that corner. There were a lot of bodies around her. The physio will be required here. On the bench, of course, for Sydney is 18-year-old Jasmine Black, with both Talia Franco and also Brianna Edwards not in the matchday squad. So if Beth Mason-Jones was unable to continue, it would be the debutant Jasmine Black, who was recently selected for the under-20s for the upcoming international window, who would be on to make her debut. Can we see where the injury may have occurred? There were a lot of bodies in and around Beth Mason-Jones. Whether it was a bit of friendly fire or an over-exuberant Melbourne City attacker, it's not clear. There is Jasmine Black warming up on the sideline, but Mason-Jones will be okay to continue. Of course, when the physios come on for goalkeepers, the goalkeeper doesn't need to go off. That's a special rule for goalkeepers, or else you can imagine the shenanigans that would ensue in that case. McNamara fighting for the ball. Tobin wins out in the end. Some dedicated fans staying out there in the stands in the rain. Majority of fans escaping to the safety of the undercover area up there. Very much rugged up. You'd imagine there'd be a few minutes of additional time. We'll find out from the fourth official shortly, but so far Sydney FC, you'd have to say they're deserved leaders. You can look at the stats, you can say, well, City have had more possession and so on, but in terms of clear-cut opportunities, they haven't really created many. You can see confirmation there of 2 minutes of additional time. Melbourne City will be keen to equalise before the break. But so far, Sydney defensively sturdy. And they've gotten the goal that they craved. Be one last attack for either side. McNamara looking to play in Bosch, but Thompson well positioned to deal with the threat. Tobin bursting into midfield. Plays it off to Dos Santos. Talon Henniker up against Rossbacken. Carly Rossbacken. Well, did well in the end. Talon Henniker was able to get one more touch than perhaps Rossbacken would have liked, but he did go out for a goal kick. Sydney FC smell a chance here. 6 players pressing as high as they possibly can, and it forces Mirez to go long into midfield. Sydney have left a big gap. They've made sure their defenders were back to prevent the long ball catching them out. And that is half-time at Amy Park, where it's bottom of the table Sydney FC, who are leading top of the table and undefeated Melbourne City 1-0. Mackenzie Hawkesby was the goal scorer after a devastating error playing out from the back by Melbourne City. A half that Laura Hughes would probably like to forget. It's been Sydney FC's high press that has caused Melbourne City all sorts of problems. Can they hold on? It's half-time, Melbourne City 0, Sydney FC 1. So let's take a look at the highlights from that first half. Sydney FC creating plenty. This long shot from Princess Abini, not one of their best. Straight to Milena Mirez. Melbourne City creating pressure through set pieces. Rihanna Speckmeyer having an opportunity to put it across here, but Moniz Bosch not able to direct it on target. Holly McNamara was gifted an opportunity here. Jordan Thompson's ball went straight to her, but she wasn't able to fashion a chance. And the opportunity was lost, and then here was the goal. Milena Mirez, and in fairness to Laura Hughes, sold Laura Hughes a terrible ball. There were 3 Sydney FC players on her. It was always going to be difficult to play out, and Mackenzie Hawkesby was the player who was there to tuck it away and give Sydney FC the lead. That is how not to play out from the back 101 right there. Melbourne City kept pressing as the rain began to pour down. This opportunity here, probably their best from Rihanna Policina.
Today in the Ninja A-League at the home of the Matildas, Melbourne Victory will be...
Melbourne City aim for a winning standard. So do we. At Host Plus, we've brought home the CanStar Award for Outstanding Value Super for the 7th year in a row. That's a plus.
Reimagine outdoor cooking with the Ninja Woodfire Outdoor Oven. Unlock high-heat woodfire flavour you can see and taste. Smoke low and slow or crank up the heat with a blistering crunch. From artisan pizzas to smoky woodfire creations. Add authentic woodfire flavours to anything you make. Share the flavours of your world with the Ninja Woodfire Outdoor Oven.
Melbourne Victory will be keen to re-establish their premiership credentials against the visiting Central Coast Mariners tomorrow. Jeff Hopkins' side has stalled in recent weeks after back-to-back draws. Here's Narlene Masto and Grace Gill with their preview of the match at the home of the Matildas.
On Sunday in the Ninja A-League at the home of the Matildas, Melbourne Victory will be hosting Central Coast Mariners. Grace, a big part of being a title contender is having a lot of squad depth, and that seems to be the case with Victory. It was once again players off the bench making the difference. How important has that been?
Well, this is something that Jeff Hopkins gets really right in this squad. We saw at the weekend Nikki Flannery making a great impact off the bench, but over the course of the season, young Matildas like Ella O'Grady making an impact, Sophia Sakalis being involved in everything. So across a long season, you want to be able to draw into your squad, and that's certainly something that Melbourne Victory have been able to do.
And it's great to have a player like Nikki to call upon because she adds so much spark and creativity on that flank. How important do you think she can be for them moving forward?
Well, knowing Nikki, she would have been really unhappy to be on the bench, but to be able to come on, to impact the game, to score, to find the back of the net, she'll be really buoyed by that. I think what we might see is that be repeated, as in she'll start on the bench again. Whether or not she'll like that formula, it obviously worked for them on the weekend, so she was a huge part of their success.
Now, as for the Mariners, their new signings have clicked so well. We saw Jade Panic on the score sheet, and it was her countrywoman, Brooke Nunn, who actually set up the goal for her. Why do you think the signings have just been so incredible for the Mariners?
Well, there's a good dynamic between Nunn and Pennick. Nunn, super fast, aggressive, gets stuck into challenges, physical. Pennick's a little bit more technical up front. She looks for the spaces in between the lines. She finds the gaps in between the defenders. So the two working together has been really tough for teams to defend against, and it's working well so far for Emily Husband's side.
Let's see if they can break down Melbourne Victory. It's going to be a tough task, but be sure to watch this one live on Paramount Plus or free on 10 Play.
There was some straight talking in the Melbourne Victory camp on the back of that 1-1 draw in Wellington last weekend. Here's head coach Jeff Hopkins to explain.
I think as a group there was a number of things that we weren't very happy with, and we definitely addressed them this week. It's been a really good week for us. I think as a coaching staff we understood we weren't good enough on the weekend, and so did the players, and they kind of drove the meeting we had. Our normal 20-minute meeting went for an hour. Everyone that was available will be available. We came out of the game on the weekend with nothing new. Maybe I'm sure that probably Ellie Wilson will probably be available as well, so she comes into the reckoning for this weekend as well. Paige Paige is making good progress. Still not there yet. Leah got stitches out today and is raring to go. That was kind of, she was just waiting for that to progress. So yeah, things are looking good on the injury side. We had to bring up a number of a number of negative things into the conversation, which the players took on board, and a lot of the stuff they brought up themselves. And the reaction we've had since then has been amazing. So we've had a great couple of training sessions since. Intensity's been right up there, the quality's been good, and there's a kind of quiet confidence about them that they want to play already. They want the game to come. So I think I'm really happy now. We've got to harness that for the weekend, keep it under control, but we're going to be ready for blood on the weekend.
Well, let's get the view of Mariners head coach Emily Husband and striker Jade Pennick as they reflect on facing victory along with last weekend's 1-1 draw against Canberra.
I think we controlled the first half really well. I think the second half turned very transitional, which probably didn't pay in our favour. I think obviously there was opportunities both ends. I think probably a draw in the end was a fair result, but there was a lot of positives to come out of it. You know, I think, like I said, we controlled the first half really well, and we created some really, really good chances. I thought defensively we looked pretty stable, so yeah, there's a lot of positives to come out of it as well. For us, you know, what we want to do doesn't change. I think for us to go and get our first win against them that doesn't require penalties or extra time would be really, really nice. Obviously last year we drew against them a couple of times, and unfortunately lost 2-1 to them, and obviously this year we came out with a draw against them as well, so it'd just be really nice to go and get 3 points and continue on a good run of games. Obviously they've had a few changes throughout their squad as well. Obviously losing Good, that would be a big loss to any team. You know, like, she's a phenomenal player and you know, really, really bright person as well, so I think, you know, that's a loss for them, but they're always going to have quality throughout that spine, you know, with Lowe, Chidiac, obviously Gilnick high up, so you know, they're always going to be a tough team to come up against, but I think we can come on and beat any team that we want to if we play right and execute ourselves as well as what we can do.
I think we were slightly disappointed after the game. We felt like we could have got more out of it. I think it were 2 different games, first half and second half, and I suppose reflecting back after, we'd take a point away from home. Really looking forward to it. We know it's going to be a tough game, but we go in and hoping that we can get 3 points out of the game.
Getting set for the start of the second half here at every time. To get back into this one, trailing CFC 1 goal to 0, but we are not out. We're out of 5 so far. We're going to continue our winning streak. We need you out here at
Well, hello and welcome back to Amy Park in Melbourne, where it is Melbourne City currently trailing Sydney FC 1-0. And how about that? Indiana Dos Santos on your screen at the moment. Well, she's a player who's been heavily involved in proceedings so far in this game. Hasn't scored a goal as of yet, but the interest in her performance is so high. A Sydney FC Foundation shirt, a match-worn shirt from her, sold for $6,844. All of those proceeds going to charity. But hey, Indiana Dos Santos is certainly one to watch. Can she impact her side this afternoon, help get them to their third win of the season against undefeated Melbourne City? We are back underway. Both sides will be looking to press high. Melbourne City, we know they are excellent in the second half. They've conceded first 8 times now. They have still not lost a game. What can they produce in this second 45? Here comes Speckmaier immediately after the break. Mariana Speckmaier runs from inside her own half, smashes it past the keeper, and Melbourne City immediately equalise. Well, that didn't last long for Sydney. There is something about Melbourne City in the second half this season. They just know how to turn it on. Speckmaier gathers the ball there, goes on a run, doesn't stop, puts her head up and shoots, and smashes it into the back of the net. Mariana Speckmaier, take a bow. That is spectacular. And parity is restored within seconds of the second half commencing. Her 6th goal this season. She came across from the Wellington Phoenix, Venezuelan international, after a spectacular season for them. Scored 3 times in the Asian Champions League in pre-season. And wow, that is a spectacular way to equalise. That is what Melbourne City do in the second half, and that's why they are still undefeated. This is game 17 of the season for them. The all-time Ninja A-League record is 18. They will be looking to make their mark and go even beyond that this season if they can. They've got Canberra away after this, and then Brisbane and Adelaide, but for now the focus squarely here in Melbourne at Amy Park. Sydney FC took the lead, and Hawkesby, my goodness, getting in there again and almost scoring in a very similar way to the goal that she scored in the first half to give Sydney the lead. This time, instead of winning the ball high, it's collided straight off her. That could have gone anywhere. Thankfully for Melbourne City, it went wide of the goal, or over the crossbar. So this is the danger now for Melbourne City. We know what they're capable of. That was incredible from Speckmaier. We know Holly McNamara is capable of similar. But Sydney FC will continue to press. They'll continue to make life uncomfortable for the home side when they do play it out from the back. And that will cause them all sorts of issues. Here comes City again. Polisina, McNamara. Plays it back to a Sydney FC shirt.
off Tay. Holly, look off Tay now. Holly, look off Tay now if you can. Good Hughesy, good Hughesy.
Stott running into the space offered.
Good Alexia, change the point quick. Bravo, excellent City.
Well, 1-1 was the scoreline the last 2 times these sides met this season. Of course, every side plays the other full home and away season, so they play each other twice, and then these 2 sides met in Unite round as well, which makes 23 rounds, 23 games. Each team will play one side 3 times. That is the case for these 2. The grand final rematch from last season. City would be so keen to get the 3 points for the first time against Sydney, to really try and exercise some of those demons from last season. What is Bosch? She doesn't have any of those demons, of course. New signing for this campaign, the Mexican-American. Mara. Otto. Bosch. There's Bosch. Manages to keep her feet. Hughes. Rory Hughes, her touch couldn't get away from Lemon. McNamara comes in, collects. Speckmeyer drags her shot wide. Mariana Speckmeyer full of confidence now after the equalising goal just after the break. Looks like spectators have, for the most part, returned to their seats after that earlier downpour rather. And if they're Melbourne City fans, you'd hope that they were back in their seats in time to witness that goal. It was a thing of brilliance from Speckmeyer. Bosch. What is Bosch driving into space? Dos Santos doing her defensive duties. Confirmation, 26 seconds was all it took for Melbourne City to equalise in the second half, and now they have 45 minutes to try and gain the advantage. Melbourne City have only conceded 3 goals all season in the second half, so it would be defying the odds for Sydney to score a second of their own, but given the way they've been pressing, again, it's a cool night in Melbourne. Anything is possible. McNamara. The end of the ball over the top. Not able to keep the ball in that time, though. Rebecca Stott. McNamara. Laura Hughes. And what is Bosch? Has Lemon to run at.
Time, Taylor.
I wonder what is in Melbourne City's team talks at half-time, because they've done this so often this season. What is Bosch? Still going. Shane Holman put in the sliding challenge, and now Abby Lemon onto ground illegally, according to the referee Isabella Mawson. There's that challenge from Holman firstly, which was clean, and then Bosch, maybe out of frustration, just grabbed a hold of Lemon and shoved her out of the way.
Good study.
Rebecca Stott, Melbourne City's captain, such an underrated, calming influence at the back. McKenna, space to run into. Now Policina. Her pass goes astray, so it's Hawkesby. Runs straight into Stott. It's good use of the body from McNamara to win that foul.
Good leg, doing excellent. Keep it going. Follow the ball.
Nice 1-2. Finds the feet of Hughes, who'll go out wide to Bosch. What is Bosch? Trying to find space, goes to ground. The referee eventually judges a foul was committed. Right on the edge of the area. Shane Holman going over to see if she's okay. Holman just leaving in a foot. Bosch certainly made the most of the contact, but it was there. Letitia McKenna has scored a direct free kick this season. At this ground, at Amy Park against the Brisbane Roar. Can she score another here? Will she put it in for a teammate? Options are plenty. Letitia McKenna goes for goal! Just wide this time. Appeals for a deflection, not heated. Now for a goal kick. They certainly have a case. It does look like it brushed the shoulder of Abby Lemon on the way through. And Sydney get away with that one. Well, how much will they push for the win here, City? How much is that unbeaten record in the back of their minds? They hold on here, it would be 17, only one away from the all-time league undefeated record, a record that they themselves have achieved once before. That high press from Hawkesby. Hawkesby's won the ball, but committed a foul in the process on Stott. Isabella Mawson just hesitated there with the whistle. Too much contact adjudged to have occurred there before Hawkesby won the ball. So a substitution here. Amber Luchtmeyer, the player who's coming on the park. She's replacing Maddie Caspers. Luchtmeyer, a fellow 17-year-old. She scored 1 goal this season. She is another member of the Young Matildas squad that's been selected for the upcoming window. She's full of talent. Luchtmeyer hasn't gotten an awful lot of opportunity this season, has been restricted to opportunities from the bench. Can she make the difference for Sydney today? McNamara. Ball in behind, searching for Speckmeyer. Mason Jones able to gather. Taylor Otto will labour to reel that one in. He's done well in the end, but that was dangerous. Again, Sydney FC players were lurking. They just have to be careful, Melbourne City. It seems like the way that they will concede is to be architects of their own downfall. It's astonishing that they probably have been the architects for most of the goals they've conceded all season, and yet top of the table, undefeated. They've just been able to find a way, despite not being perfect. Long ball forward, searching for McNamara. Tobin able to head it away. What is Bosch asking the question, how many fouls can Abby Lemon commit? No yellow card produced just yet. She slowly retreats away from the scene of the crime. Yeah, there wasn't much in that, to be fair. The yellow card now has been produced, but not the way that Lourdes Bosch would have wanted, because it's been produced against Bosch. Too much complaining about the lack of a yellow for Lemon. And she's talked her way into the book, so a yellow card did get produced. That is what she wanted, but not in the direction that she would have liked. Free kick taken short, back to Stott. Rebecca Stott able to run into space. McNamara not able to gather. And now Sydney able to play the ball forward. Luchtmeyer will be the player chasing that one down. She'll keep it in. But not able to reel it in before the byline. And out for a City goal kick. Policina. Out to Bosch. What is Bosch against Lemon again? And Bosch brought to ground, but no foul that time. Luchtmeyer. Can she create something? Can either side create something? We saw that moment of magic from Speckmeyer, and maybe the half has gone a little bit quiet after that. Hawkesby almost creating another chance for a goal for Sydney earlier as well, when it ricocheted back off her. from a goal kick. This time she'll take a shot and it'll be deflected away for a corner. So a good result for Sydney. An opportunity from a set piece to regain their advantage. Corner in for Sydney. Dos Santos's delivery right into the danger. Shumath was there at the back post, wasn't able to get a touch on it. That would have been decisive. Here's that press again, but this time dealt with well. Ball central to McNamara, who was trying to play in the overlapping Rebecca Stott, who's gone on a bit of an adventure down the pitch. She's still there, Stott. Rebecca Stott turning, trying to find McNamara, goes to ground, no foul. Now 2 more changes coming up, Melbourne City. Shelby McMahon, one of the players coming on, she'll replace Rihanna Policina. McMahon, another one of those young Matildas, 16-year-old originally from the Gold Coast. TJ Vlanich also coming on, she's replacing Carly Rosbach. And so 2 like-for-like substitutions. McMahon will go straight into midfield and Vlanich will replace Rosbach in defence on the flank. Interesting to see McMahon come on and not Leah Davidson, who is returning from injury via the bench. So that suggests a more attacking outlook, perhaps, from Michael Matriciani. McMahon burst onto the scene last season. She scored 2 goals. Yet to get on the score sheet this time out. Here's Speckmeyer. Trying to find a teammate. McKenna was there. Sydney FC defenders, though, up to the task. McKenna trying to twist and turn away. Hughes, McKenna, good touch.
Good Shelby, keep that pedaling. Good shape.
McMahon on the ball. Hughes. Back to Stott. Rebecca Stott taking the space offered. Ball all the way across to Lourdes Bosch. Right on the edge of the area here. Bosch will take on the strike. Mason Jones able to claim. Well, when she cut inside then, Lourdes Bosch looked for a moment like she might have found the space required to find that decisive shot that she needed. But straight at Mason Jones. Here they go again, City. That ball taken away. And then Sydney will look to hit them on the counter fast. Apostolakis back and able to gather. Before kicking it straight at Princess Abini.
Inside, good team. Good shots again. Stick to it, go.
Bosch. Not sure who that was to. Melbourne City teammates looking back around like they're not sure either. 20 minutes or so of this game remaining. It was Sydney FC who scored first through Mackenzie Hawkesby after a Melbourne City error playing out from the back. And then 26 seconds into the second half, Mariana Speckmeyer picked up the ball from inside her own half, went on a run, went on an adventure, and scored an absolute banger to equalise. And either side now find a winner. That would be significant for both sides for different reasons. For Sydney, it would be a rare win this season and keep their slim finals hopes alive. And for Melbourne City, it is the team that they have most desired to beat after last season's grand final defeat. Well, Sydney FC were preparing a substitution as Lucy Johnson, who is looking to come on the pitch. She scored 3 goals this season from midfield for Sydney, so it's been a good campaign for the Tasmanian. But as Sydney are preparing to defend a set piece, that substitution is just being held off for now. McNamara was fouled after that play, so instead of it being a corner, it'll be a free kick on a similar kind of position from a corner, just a little bit closer. So certainly to City's advantage. The left boot of Vlanic will take the set piece. The referee just trying to keep the players apart, make sure no fouls are being committed. Vlanic's delivery, Baith Mason-Jones gathers. That was always going to be an in-swinger that challenged Mason-Jones, but she was well positioned and caught well. There's been a little bit of rain in this game, so the ball might still be a little bit slippery, surface a little bit slippery. And she's had safe hands so far today. So that substitution will occur now. It's Princess Abini, the player who is withdrawn for Lucy Johnson. You'd imagine that will require somewhat of a reshuffle for Sydney. And really the only recognised number 9 that they're playing with in this game is Amber Luchtmeyer, and she's 17. Hasn't started a game. They started with Mackenzie Hawkesby playing in that centre forward role. She did score a goal. Princess Abini going off means that the responsibility of being the point of the attack really does fall on the teenager. The big ask, we know she's capable of it. She was the NPL New South Wales Golden Boot winner for Bulls Academy at senior level. So an incredible achievement for such a young player. Wouldn't she love to score a go-ahead goal for Sydney FC tonight? Johnson intercepting, playing it in for Hawkesby. Otto, well, they both gave up on the chase then.
Holly, how are you?
Hawkesby gave up, then Otto gave up, then Hawkesby thought, oh, I might stay in, but it did end up going out of play. Bosch not able to keep the ball in after she won it from Lemon. It's been a great little duel out on that flank. Lourdes Bosch, one of the best dribblers in the competition. Whenever she has the ball at her feet, you just don't know what's going to happen. McKenna. Out wide for Bosch. There's Bosch. Lemon does really well again to win the ball and clear it upfield for another Melbourne City throw. Santos loses possession. Now City an opportunity to break. McNamara back to Hughes. Postolakis into the sky. McMahon not able to control it. McNamara now to Bosch. There's Bosch. There's good positioning from Apostolakis to get in there and make sure that ball couldn't reach Dos Santos. Unfortunately, only McNamara. Well, she's back up on her feet. She was down for a moment. Montez Bosch takes advantage of the brief intermission. McKenna in behind. As Mackenzie Hawkesby all the way back in defence. Was able to take it out of play. McNamara. City continuing to apply the pressure. McMahon. Shelby McMahon didn't make the decision quick enough there. And not able to keep it in. And she certainly is a phenomenal talent, Shelby McMahon. She's only 16 years of age, still very inexperienced at this level, so really every minute that she's on the pitch is a learning experience for her, and on that occasion, she really had to just make the decision faster, make the pass faster.
Next out, Michael. Next out, ref.
City playing it forward. All over the top. McNamara not able to get there. She's looking perhaps like she's out of legs at the moment. Tobin, ball in, headed away. Can it be Sydney FC who find another opportunity? Well, not with passes like that, unfortunately. So Holly McNamara's day is done. Briley Henry will be the player who will replace her. McNamara just running out of legs at the end there, but another industrious performance. The next time that we see Holly McNamara in action, it will hopefully be in a Matilda's shirt, and what a story that is. Meanwhile, Briley Henry, well, she is looking for her first goal in 714 days in the competition, if she can score tonight. Here's Sydney FC on the charge, though. Kaylee Talon-Henniker not able to get the ball in. The throw, central, Luchtmeyer! Great save, Mirez! Amber Luchtmeyer saw the opportunity and shot well. With Elena Mirez at full stretch, able to palm it away. The teenager, almost the hero for Sydney FC. Opportunity not over, Johnson. Into Dos Santos, still Luchtmeyer. Shumath looking for the 1-2. Hughes is there. Cleared, but only as far as Abby Lemon. It's an ambitious shot. Skews wide. Well, this is this strike from Luchtmeyer. She struck it well. A clean shot. But too close to Mirez, who made a good save to palm it away. You could see the reaction from Mackenzie Hawkesby. Speckmeyer wins out, and Nutzhoven will eventually won the ball despite thinking she was fouled in the process.
Keep looking for it, Teach! Keep looking for it, Teach!
Hughes can't control, so Hawkesby trying to play it forward to Luchtmeyer. Luchtmeyer trying to show off her straight line speed, but it's not got there first. Otto in space. Taylor Otto streaming forward here. Sydney FC players getting back, but Otto's pass not good enough for City to take advantage. Just escaping Briley Henry. Speckmeyer can control it.
Well done. Excellent.
The referee getting involved here because Laura Hughes and Amber Luchtmeyer, a bit of a push and shove. Hughes putting her arms up. I'm innocent, ref. It wasn't me. It's been one of those games. Laura Hughes, well, she's not the tallest player, Hughes, but she's let the youngster know who the experienced campaigner is there. Don't run at me. I think those arms up in innocence were maybe trying to persuade the referee. Anyway, play continues. The energy just sapped a little bit out of this game as soon as City got that equalizer. Still, anything can happen. Every single one of these players will want to be the hero. They want to grab the game by the scruff of its neck. Here's Vlanic, full of running, as ever. Hughes. Kostelakis. To Lourdes Bosch. Lourdes Bosch. Can she find McMahon? She can. Shelby McMahon goes central. McKenna turning, twisting. Letitia McKenna. The deflection will take it out for a Melbourne City corner. So the second best outcome there from Letitia McKenna. Was just able to turn away from Shay Holman, get the ball onto her preferred. And then for a corner. Lots of pressure on the goal line again, but it'll come all the way out to Letitia McKenna, whose strike is high. Well, there was a clever little corner routine here from Melbourne City. It fell well to Letitia McKenna, but her ball not on target, not able to challenge the keeper. It had to be hit high just because of all of the players in the road. Bosch. Nowadays Bosch goes to ground. And foul awarded. Did look like there was contact, but not enough. Now Luchtmeyer. Amber Luchtmeyer for Sydney FC. Rebecca Stott was there and did just enough to put her off. And eventually a foul is called and it goes against Mackenzie Hawksby. Nat Tobin is livid. She believes that Sydney FC should have had a penalty here. It was a good touch from Luchtmeyer. Stott, 50-50 maybe. Well, Stott certainly had the arm of Luchtmeyer, but it was shoulder to shoulder. Replay does tend to agree with the referee, but only just. You can see the argument both ways. It has been a very physical contest tonight. Good touch from Dos Santos. Sydney just beginning to apply the pressure in these last few minutes of the game. In these last few moments, it's been they who have looked more likely. Another decision going against Sydney FC in what has been a frustrating night for their captain, Nat Tobin.
How can we help, girls? How can we help? Let's go. Well done.
McMahon. Postelakis. Central to Speckmeyer, who goes to ground, but no foul awarded. And now Sydney FC, a chance to press high, but not quite able to win the ball cleanly. So Melbourne City on the counter will have an opportunity. Lourdes Bosch out to Briley Henry to win it for Melbourne City. Briley Henry scores her first goal in 714 days in the Ninja A-League, and maybe, just maybe, it is finally Melbourne City's grand final revenge. Well, Briley Henry, the 21-year-old, she was subbed on in the second half. This ball to Lourdes Bosch, absolutely resplendent. And then Bosch to spot the run of Henry. And Henry, look at what it meant for the youngster. Tuck the ball past Beth Mason-Jones and into the back of the net. Great assist from Bosch. And that means the world to the youngster. The monkey is off her back. For the first time since March 2023. Riley Henry has scored in the Ninja A-League, and it may well be the winner for the league leaders. Still stoppage time for Sydney FC to get the goal back. They will so crave. 4 minutes of it. They will throw everything at this now to walk away with something for their efforts. But here comes City. McMahon in space. They'll be caught in two minds here. Do they go for a third? Do they try and hold possession to ensure that Sydney don't have another chance? Laura Hughes. Laura Hughes will go for the shot. It'll hit the top of the net. So Sydney FC back in possession, 3 minutes to march the ball up the field, but that will be interrupted because there will be another substitution. And it is a very welcome return for Leah Davidson for Melbourne City. She replaces Letitia McKenna. Davidson returning from injury, was just a small one, a couple of weeks. But Davidson, such a classy player. A fantastic defensive midfielder. Of course, a Matilda as well, after playing against Chinese Taipei.
Stay there! Protect!
And that substitution has a dual purpose for Michael Matriciani because it takes a few more seconds off the clock, but also Davidson's ability as a defensive midfielder, you'd imagine, will come in handy in these last few minutes.
Hand line, good. Hold it up, hold it up, hold it up. Good, good, yes,
Bosch taking the ball away, and she's on a yellow card, Lourdes Bosch, so you want to be a little bit careful. That yellow card she got, she talked herself into the book. Don't want to do too many time-wasting shenanigans. Leave that to some teammates.
Couple of minutes, play the game. Keep compact, keep compact.
Less than 2 minutes remaining in Melbourne City to get their first win against Sydney FC this season, to vanquish some of those grand final demons from last season. This is the 3 points that they really wanted. As fantastic as their season has been, as many points as they are on top of the table, this is the win that they wanted. We'll put them 9 points clear of Adelaide United, who are currently in second. Melbourne Victory still yet to play, could cut the margin to 7, but this is the game they wanted to win. And they are very, very close to doing so. They'll keep the ball in the corner for as long as possible. Their home fans won't mind at all. Holman trying to get it out, but can't do so. Ball out for a goal kick, so maybe one last attack for Sydney. What have they got in them? How much time will referee Isabella Mawson give Sydney FC to get an equaliser, to get something from this game to prevent Melbourne City from beating them this season? Riley Henry, the goal scorer, on the ball now. Still Riley Henry taking it to the corner, and that'll do it. Melbourne City victorious over Sydney FC for the first time this season Briley Henry with the winner that got the home side over the line. Melbourne City are now 9 points clear on top of the table. They are 17 undefeated in the league, only 1 away from equaling the record, 2 away from beating it. This team is sensational this season. They went behind in the first half, but Mariana Speckmeyer scored a stunner only 26 seconds into the half, and then Henry added icing on the cake. That man, Ante Juric, is under an enormous amount of pressure now. Finals campaign for Sydney FC all but over, you would have to imagine. Mackenzie Hawkesby, the goal scorer early in the first half, but it wasn't enough for Sydney. Full time at Amy Park, it is Melbourne City 2, Sydney FC 1. So let's take a look at the goals that were scored in this game. First one in the first half for Sydney FC. This error playing out from the back. Laura Hughes not able to control the ball, and Mackenzie Hawkesby, the player that was able to nip in and take full advantage and place the ball into the back of the net. It was good team pressing from Sydney FC. They did it quite effectively. I'll be disappointed to have only scored 1 for their efforts. So this was very early in the second half. Mariana Speckmeyer picking up the ball inside her own half, going on a run. The defenders just backed off, and so Speckmeyer was able to take the shot from outside the penalty area. A wonderful solo run and strike, and that was the leveler. 26 seconds into the second half. Melbourne City really have a habit of being exceptionally strong in the second halves. And that was reinforced because while it was a game of few chances at times, this was a wonderful ball into Lourdes Bosch, who was able to play it into the path of Briley Henry, and a first-time strike